when it comes to your past, I honestly don't think you're entitled to tell your partner every single little detail that happened, because like maybe some things you just don't want to share, you're not comfortable sharing, or maybe those are things that you think like, okay, it's not even relevant anymore, like why bring that up kind of thing. You know what I mean? I realized that, you know, when you have a boyfriend, when you have a partner, you have, like right now, like how we're vulnerable, you have to be vulnerable in order to open those parts of yourself up.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid. Now wait just a minute. And you're ugly, just like your mum.
You know, it's awfully interesting how it's always the women who have a body count that rivals John Woo's Hard Boiled that are fast to claim that their past doesn't matter. That whether or not they rode the carousel so hard that it would make most carnies rethink their life decisions doesn't matter. Because a man should love them for who they are, not who they were. So what if they dance the tango del gonorrheo so many times that they're on a first name basis with the pharmacist who's refilling their antibiotic prescriptions? It's in the past, that magical fantasy land where accountability goes to sleep its eternal slumber and where herpes makes you cool. But answer me this, woman. If your past doesn't matter, then why are you so standoffish about it? Seems to me like if your past doesn't matter, then it shouldn't matter if you were honest. You see, lady, that's called logic, and I used about a first grader's level of logic to completely destroy your argument. So imagine what I could do if I actually put some effort into my argument.
This is beyond easy.
Here are 3 things that you should know if you're a spicy creator or thinking about becoming one. Hi, for those that don't know me, my name is Taylor Ryan, and I am a 6-figure OF creator, and I have been on the platform for over 5 years.
That's why I praise the Lord for prostitutes.
I created SX Creators, which is an online course which teaches you how to be successful on any adult platform. So, fact number 1, if a customer says to you, if you do this custom for me now, I will pay for it later, red flag, don't do it. Always, always, always take a deposit for any custom that you do, or take it up front if it's very niche. Because at the end of the day, time is money, and if you are making a custom content piece that you cannot resell, they are going to waste your time, or you're going to send it to them for free and they are never going to pay for it.
Okay, God, let me have it!
Okay, so you're a spice miner who sells spice mining tips to aspiring spice miners in an industry that's already oversaturated with spice miners. Oh, I have to admit, that's one hell of a grift. It's actually a grift within a grift. It's a griftception, if you will. I really don't know what's worse, though. The fact that there's somebody out there offering this kind of quote-unquote course, or that there's idiots out there who are willing to pay for it. Online avenue strollers have no idea the kind of destruction they're causing for themselves and their families by willfully joining that seedy part of the internet. It literally ruins lives, but the easy money and lack of any common sense will always be more attractive than being modest and finding a life of contentment by not selling less than pants photos at the rate of $3 a month. But hey, what the hell do I know? I only witness these broads making terrible decisions on a day-to-day basis, so maybe I'm not all that qualified to discuss the subject. Who am I kidding? You don't need to be qualified.
It is 99.99999% marketing. Everyone has it in their head that all you have to do is take a picture and sell it. But if you have a product that no one knows about, who the fuck are you selling it to? You need to build social media platforms. People need to know who you are and where they can find your product, and that will be link in bio.
I quit. I quit.
Wow! Imagine if you actually had a business model that didn't involve selling your body in exchange for money and applied the same strategies of marketing. That would actually be socially acceptable, but I get it. Starting up a legitimate business where you actually sell a real service that's fundamentally clean on a number of different societal levels is just too much work, and there's no guarantee for success. Not like selling your body on a platform that has literally millions of young women who are selling the exact same thing. Well, okay, the odds of success are just as low, but come on. What else are these broads going to do? Actually be responsible? That's boring and a one-way ticket to the poorhouse. Even though they have a maximum of 5 years in this industry and they'll waste that money in the process, but it's the life journey to find their most true and authentic selves. And I guess that's well worth the profits to be had. How much, you might ask? Well, tell him, Bernie.
Tens of dollars a month.
And tip number 3, boundaries are incredibly important, and you need to know how to set them without losing sales. My personal favorite way to do this is by having a price list put in place, but I have another video on that, so make sure you go and check that one out. Boundaries really are going to be the make or break of your platform. It's either going to make you absolutely love your job, or it's going to make you hate it and question everything that you do. It can also pressure you into making content that you're not comfortable doing. And I truly think this is where a lot of the bad stigma comes from when it comes to creators saying that they tried it and then they hated it because they felt pressured to do certain things. But having those boundaries in place will really help you be able to tell people no. But that is a skill, and that comes with upselling skills, and that comes with customer service, and I have other videos on how you can learn how to do that. So yeah, there are 3 things that I think you should know if you are a spicy creator or you're thinking about becoming one. Now, I need to finish getting ready, so if you'd like any more tips, tricks, or big sisterly advice, then make sure you follow me on here or on my Instagram.
Nope. That would be a waste of time.
If you ask any spice miner who's been in the industry long enough, they'll tell you the only real way to make any real money is to ignore any boundaries and keep doing more and more extreme stuff until you're at the point where you're just empty on the inside and you're blaming society for all of your problems. Which is ironic when you consider this kind of ubiquitous content is one of the reasons for the speeding up of the decay of society itself. These chicks have no idea how terrible their content is to the minds of all the people who pay them. It really does a significant amount of damage to the consumer, especially when you consider how many men will pay these broads just for a message to give them some attention, which is why it's better to just ignore this kind of garbage and go do something useful, like reading a leather-bound book or mastering the nuances of mini golf. It's probably healthier, plus it has the added benefit of fulfilling a man's desire to hit a ball with a stick, and that's probably the greatest gift of all.
4 reasons that girls don't like nice guys.
Should be interesting.
Number 1, they're not actually ready for something serious. They think they are, but when a guy shows interest and is consistent and wants to see them, they run the other way, so they're probably just not ready. Number 2, it feels inauthentic sometimes to us women when we see a guy being so nice right off the bat. Like, why do you like me so much? I'm too skeptical, and maybe that's from being burnt in the past, but
Emotional damage.
The amount of mental gymnastics a modern woman will perform to try to not make herself look as vain and unappealing as possible knows no bounds. The biggest reason why modern women don't like nice guys is because they are not toxic bad boys. It's just that simple. She wants the things she can't have in life. That's why she'll throw herself at Emperor Tyronius Raerelius and settle for the man she'll never bring herself to respect. And that's why she'll tell herself that nice guys are quote-unquote too nice when she really means that nice guys are weak, broke, or creepy. But the God Emperor will always get a pass regardless of the red flags. After all, you are pathetically desperate to become his #1 concubine. You don't care if it leaves you emotionally broken and practically worthless. That's what the nice guys are for. You'll just dump your baggage on them and then blame them for not fixing you in a timely fashion. Then you'll get your alimony and divorce and then talk about how there are no nice men left on this earth, and the cycle will continue.
3, it could be a confidence thing. Like, we don't like ourselves at the moment, so why did they like us? What did they see in us? Because I'm not seeing anything in me right now. Number 4, we love a project, so when they're already nice, there's nothing for us to do. We can't change this person. And that is some real truth.
Liar, liar, liar.
Woman, just admit that you don't want a nice guy because you think they're beneath you. That's what this is really about anyway. You know it, I know it, the whole planet knows it. Modern women have led themselves to believe that they are goddesses worthy of being worshipped by simps and dominated by a man that's more masculine than them. But as we all know, you're not a goddess, not even close. You're not even worthy of being a distributor of the pamphlets which dictate the glorious glory of the intergalactic space god Hume Blue Farm. All hail. You're just an average woman, meant for an average man. This has been the way society has thrived for thousands of years, but it was only until recently that modern women have perceived this notion to be the ultimate insult. And woman, if I wanted to insult you, I'd say that you don't deserve an average guy because you're over the age of 30 and your marketing strategies are so transparent that it makes you look like you're not nearly as smart as a man who's brain damaged. And that's what I like to call the real truth.
That's funny because it's so true.
All right, let's talk about why your ex moved on so quickly. Guys, I have done a lot of research on this. I've taken a lot of classes. I've taken a lot of therapy, a lot of understanding, a lot of God. And what I came to realize is, yes, is there a small percent that the person that moves on really quick just by chance found their soulmate? It's definitely possible. However, is it likely when you're dealing with a narcissist? Absolutely not. Basically, this person just moves on really quick because they don't know how to stay down. They don't know how to stay by themselves. They don't know how to take accountability or be held accountable for the things that they do. So instead, they flee. They flee and they go find the next thing that brings them on this high and makes them feel that nothing they've done is wrong and it all just led up to this perfect moment.
Oh, really?
Hold the phone for a second there, Chatty Cathy. The reason why men typically leave their women is because they're narcissists? Now, I may not have taken a whole bunch of classes or therapy or read the backs of a bunch of cereal boxes, but I did watch that one episode of Columbo where projectionists were a major part of how we cracked the case, so I think I'm more than qualified to talk about this subject. Generally speaking, self-respecting men won't just arbitrarily leave their significant other just for the rush of fun. If they do leave, it's usually years in the making. A man has to take a lot of grief from their woman in order to leave. But we're not talking about those guys. You rarely do. You're talking about the 5% of men that take up 99% of your brain pan. The remaining 1% is reserved for social media and cosmetics. And those particular men will always leave you because they were never yours in the first place. They treat you the exact same way you treat the average men you don't respect. But when you do it, it's because you found your soulmate, or you're chasing that high, or you can't help it, or whatever malarkey comes into your head that day. You have to go out there and find your most true and authentic self, but when he does it, all of a sudden it's narcissism and insecurities. Well, it's kind of funny how convenient that turns out to be.
But in all actuality, the perfect moment isn't gonna last. And as you may hope and pray that that moment lasts for them, or maybe you don't, thing is that a person that has unhealed traumas, unhealed issues with themselves are always going to find the same issues in their lives just in another way because they take themselves with them everywhere they go. So they'll eventually find the same issues that they had with you. They'll eventually find the same unhappiness. They'll eventually find the same things that led them to cheat, be dishonest, betray you in the other person. And what's so sad is even when that happens, they're still not going to take accountability, and now it's going to be the other person's fault.
Wait a minute. Strike that. Reverse it. Thank you.
It is absolutely amazing how a modern woman will come up with so many different ways to avoid accountability in today's world. Nothing is ever their fault. It's always the men or the patriarchy or the fact that she found out Disney movies weren't real. It doesn't matter. She'll refuse to take the blame for anything that goes wrong in her life. And it's staggering how she can be so close to discovering the truth, but will take that statement and refer to it in the third person instead of the first. That's because modern women will do whatever they possibly can to avoid having to feel bad. They spend their lives in constant misery to the point where they only feel good when they're chasing the next external high, be it clubbing, spending money, or jumping into a stranger's bed. They're incapable of feeling good, so they do everything they can to keep themselves from feeling worse when they're jonesing for a fix, and that includes the bending of all reality.
So sit back, grab your popcorn, create your life, do for you. Don't allow them to take any more joy, pain, or mind space from you anymore. If you've broken away from that relationship, understand how lucky you are and how brave that was of you to step away, because that shit is hard. The trauma bond, the feeling that like you owe them something, that you need to be there to save them, that you need to be there to fix all of their problems. You freed yourself from that. And now, unfortunately, you just have to watch them continue to make the same mistakes, but all the while still blaming everything on you.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is?
Oh, trust me, sister, we most certainly are. Thanks to social media, you've lost any form of inhibitions or modesty in your life. You're not only admitting your faults to men across the planet, you're doing it over and over again. We're just kicking back, working on ourselves, and witnessing the world of pure insanity that you created for yourself. You're doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result every single time. And that's what sets us apart from you. If we find that something in our lives isn't working, we will change a factor, see if it works, and go from there. But you'll do the same thing every time, and whenever it fails, it's not because your plan sucked. It's the whole world's fault for not allowing the plan to come together. Every single time. So a lot of us have had enough, and we're just sitting back as you constantly make an ass out of yourself. It's cheaper than a movie, funnier than modern sitcoms, and for guys like me, it's a never-ending source of amusing content. So thank you for that, lady. Enjoy your insanity. We sure as hell are. Oh! And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.